Hello guys, and welcome to another video on the GDT15 channel. Today's topic is a tough but expected one. Last Thursday, we learned the truth behind Wargaming's latest decision, a move that has driven many respected community contributors to leave the program. To those departing CCs, I want to say thank you. Your dedication to improving the game and bringing communication between players and developers has not gone unnoticed, despite typically going nowhere. For those of you who may have missed my community post, I want to make it clear. Despite these recent developments, I will continue creating content and strive to become a CC. My goal is to carry the torch passed down by those who came before us and keep advocating for a better game. But today's video isn't just about price hikes. There's already been plenty of discussion around that. Today's video is instead about how we got here, why these changes have happened, and how Blitz's monetization system works and its history. World of Warships Blitz follows a freemium model. It's free to play, but its monetization strategy leans heavily on in-app purchases, often tied to randomized or exclusive items. Within this framework, Blitz employs systems like gacha mechanics and loot boxes, where players pull for random rewards. Two prime examples in Blitz are crates and sonar sweeps. Crates come with ridiculously low drop rates for the most desirable items, while sonar sweeps function as a step-up gacha system. This means that as the odds for obtaining top-tier rewards increase, the cost to continue pulling grows significantly. This design heavily targets whales, which if you don't know are players who spend significant amounts of money, but this system alienates most of the player base, who either refuse or can't afford to engage. Wargaming also generates massive hype for new ships and items well in advance, only to release them with outrageously high prices and incredibly low drop rates. To make matters worse, they apply pressure on the player base with limited time offers, creating a sense of urgency and utilizing psychological tactics like FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. These items are often pay to win too, trapping players in a cycle of repeated spending. In essence, we are witnessing the mechanics of a virtual casino. Additionally, we can't ignore the massive time component of this game's grind, which plays directly into the time versus money strategy. Many players are pushed to spend large sums of money to skip through this grind, whether by buying their way to tier 10 and or by purchasing premium ships to boost their commander progression, all in an effort to reach the higher tiers faster. Now, during the writing of this script, I came across a comment that raises an incredibly valid point. Blitz operates under this development model because as long as players continue playing and new players keep joining, there's no incentive for Wargame to allocate significant resources towards fixing fundamental issues. Instead, their focus is on creating and releasing new ships that generate revenue. While this observation is undeniably accurate, the bigger question is whether this approach is ethical. And the answer is a resounding no. Now, I understand that discussing ethics in the context of a gaming company might seem futile, but the fact remains that other games that I play, are actively investing in fixing issues and improving their core experience, not just churning out copy-paste content while neglecting long-standing problems like buffing original tech tree ships. What's even more alarming is the fact that this game is rated for players aged 12 and up. Minors, who are especially vulnerable, are exposed to this gambling-like monetization model. This alone should prompt serious reflection on the ethics of wargaming's practices. Wargaming's revenue strategy hinges on fewer purchases at higher prices. While this approach might work in the short term, it has a fatal flaw. Even whales have their limits. When even the most dedicated spenders feel exploited, they stop spending. And what happens then? Instead of course correcting, Wargaming doubles down, raising prices further to make up for lost revenue. It's a vicious cycle, one we've seen repeated year after year. Every year, these price hikes roll out at the same time, around the new year. Why? Because the Blitz development team is on holiday, leaving no one to challenge these changes internally, and the community can't effectively respond with the team absent. Meanwhile, the higher ups at Wargaming laugh at our misfortune, unbothered by the fallout. This year, however, marks a new low. The scale of these changes is unprecedented, and by far the worst I've ever seen in any game. How does Wargaming justify decisions like these? A 987% increase for Turkish players, an astronomical cost for Vietnamese players, where purchasing a digital ship now costs an arm and a leg. Not only did Wargaming implement these changes, but they never even announced them. The only reason the community realized something was happening was because of the mass CC exodus. Honestly, I'm just as furious about the complete lack of transparency and communication as I am about the changes themselves. But we have grown to expect this behavior from Wargaming. It's beyond unreasonable, and players worldwide are understandably furious. What happens next? Many players are already quitting the game in frustration, while those who remain have vowed not to spend another dime. If this trend continues, it's not hard to imagine next year bringing even steeper increases. 2,000%, 4,000%, who knows? At this rate, Blitz is on a crash course to irrelevance. The community once had so much passion and energy for this game. Blitz had the potential to dominate the mobile gaming scene, but the greed of its higher ups has sealed its fate. By next year, if nothing changes, Blitz may well become a ghost game, populated only by bots and the echoes of what it could have been. I can say with almost 100% certainty that Wargaming will continue to ignore our problems and suggestions for fixing them. What they fail to understand is that we, as players, are okay with higher priced items for stronger and higher tier ships. But the drop rates are still far too low, and the prices remain outrageously high, especially after the recent massive price increases. There needs to be a significant adjustment to the current model. I'm not saying they should completely remove gacha mechanics, but there should be more opportunities to acquire ships and items through guaranteed methods. Items that players want should be available in the shop without loot box mechanics. 100% assured. These guaranteed options should appear much more frequently. To illustrate the problem, I logged into the game while writing this script. Right now, there's only one bundle available that doesn't even include a ship. Meanwhile, there are two crates in the store, both with top tier prizes that have less than a 1% drop rate. The upcoming Commonwealth Cruiser, a mere 0.5% chance. Let's not forget, this game has an age rating of 12 plus. If Wargaming were to make more items available at guaranteed prices, players like myself and many others would actually buy them. This way, they could cater to both whales and the broader player base, including those who don't have endless money to throw at the game. There needs to be a balance that makes the game enjoyable and accessible for all players, not just a small segment willing to gamble or spend excessively. How do we respond to Wargaming's greed? Well, the first step is to make your voice heard. If you haven't already, sign the ongoing petition, link in the description, which demands that Wargaming reforms its business model for Blitz. This petition smashed its initial goal in just one day, showing the strength of our community's frustration and our desire for change. The more signatures we gather, the harder it becomes for Wargaming to ignore us. Next, stop buying anything in the game. It might feel counterintuitive since I mentioned earlier that fewer purchases can lead to higher prices, but continuing to spend tells Wargaming that their current pricing model is acceptable, or worse, that they can push it even further. By refusing to spend, we send a powerful message. We will not support a predatory and exploitative system with our wallets. Finally, if you're tired of this game, it's okay to step away. Find something else that brings you joy. For me, as much as I'm committed to my progress towards becoming a CC, I've been playing much War Thunder, Enlisted, and even Minecraft instead. And it speaks volume when I choose not one, but two Gaijin games over Blitz. But don't abandon the community altogether, even if you stop playing. This community remains as strong as ever. Many of us will continue to share the same games, activities, and camaraderie. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, we can send a message strong enough to spark real change. One that finally revitalizes this game and brings back the legends and players of the past. Together, we could return to the better times we all remember so fondly. Thanks for listening and watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. JT15, out.